There's no doubt about it. I love comic books. I've been collecting and reading them for over a decade now, and boy does my wallet and relationship status shows it.
You know, I really can't think of any reason why someone would not like comic books. There's a comic out there for everyone.
Either it's the mainstream American classics, or the obscure, more darker-spirited emo graphic novels. Watchmen being an example of this.
Comic books have been around for a long time, so long in fact is categorized into 4 different ages, each with its own personality.
You have the Golden Age, which gives us superheroes such as Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. This is when we viewed them as perfect gods and romanticized them a bit.
Very surprisingly, these comics did not shy away from the dark and gruesome stuff. Unlike the Silver Age.
Have you ever looked at a comic and seen this? Well, in the 1960s, parents were upset by the bad influence comics had on their kids, claiming that they made them into violent troublemakers. And so, the Comic Codes Authority was set up with its rules and restrictions of what comic writers can and cannot write. God, just saying that makes me feel angry and sick.
I'm not saying all comics during this time were bad, just how strict and prissy the rules were, the writers did not have enough freedom to write what they wanted. So the comics came out pretty campy. It wasn't until the Bronze Age for people to realize how freaking retarded the codes were, and they just stopped using it, and we really don't have it anymore. I hope that happens to other associations. But hearing that piece of history remind me how grateful I am to live in a time when parents no longer irresponsibly blame their children's bad actions on a piece of media. Moving on.
Video games got their own comic spin-offs, Sonic the Hedgehog being the most popular one. And I do admit, I do have a few of those. The Sonic comics are like the games, except not complete shit. But that's for another video. I always liked it when there was adaptations for movies or TV shows, and Star Wars takes the cake for this one. When A New Hope came out, Marvel had a tie-in comic book series, for which I have the first 2 of the total 107 issues.
Not that I'm trying to brag here.
After that, Dark Horse made Star Wars comics, which were pretty gritty and had a bit of a cult following. But after Disney brought Star Wars, it switched back to Marvel, and I welcome that very much. Even though they might be milking it a bit.
Okay, here's something I really want to rant about. When I started collecting and read comics, they were at a reasonably fair $2.99. You know how much they are today? $3, $4, even $5.99. It really baffles me how costly they become, and it makes it really hard to try and keep up. And I know what you're gonna say, why don't you just digitally download them? Well, when people ask me this question, I think what Stan Lee has said on the issue about physical versus digital comics. And he said, comics are like boobs. They look good on a screen, but I much rather hold one in my hand. So I hope that answers your question.
A complaint I often hear about comic books is that people think they're just a bunch of dumb kid stuff. And I don't believe that at all. A lot like cartoons, comics was sort of experimental medium that was originally targeted to everyone, but because how colorful and imaginative it was, there was a bigger audience than kids. So they started targeted towards kids while the adults is viewed as something silly and juvenile. And I'm very much willing to defend against that. Sure, there's a lot of laughably bad comics out there, but there's a lot of intelligent, interesting, and inspirational comic stories out there. So what's the difference between reading one of these versus an actual book?
And that's all I really had to say about comic books in this video. It was nice to lay them all out and have this perspective of what I've been collecting and reading over the years. Some of them I really had to ask myself, Jesus, I was thinking buying this. And while others I collected during my I never thought I'd hear that theme song again.
My little pony, my little pony.
Well, I guess you know what the next video is going to be about. Until we meet again, thank you for watching and stay gold.